From Eyewitness News, this is Newsmakers.
This week on Newsmakers, a debate between the two candidates running for mayor of Fall River. Incumbent Jasiel Correia is seeking a second term in office. Elected in 2015, he was the youngest mayor in Fall River history. Challenger Linda Pereira has served on the Fall River City Council for 16 years. She currently serves as the council's vice chair. Who will lead the region's third largest city? This week, Correia, Pereira debate the issues on Newsmakers. Welcome to this special edition of Newsmakers. I will be moderating this debate and asking questions along with WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi. Mr. Correia, Ms. Pereira, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. There is no strict format to this debate. We're looking for an open and honest discussion of the issues, but if we feel like you're not answering the question or you're taking too long, we will jump in. To begin, each candidate will get a 1-minute opening statement, the order of which was drawn prior to this debate. First up, Mr. Correia, your 1-minute opening statement.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Channel 12. Thank you to my opponent. And thank you for those that are watching in the entire region. It has been a privilege to be the mayor over the last 2 years and to bring about stable progress that I'd like to continue if I am reelected to a second term. Over the last 2 years, we have changed the city's entire course and really brought it into a more fiscally stable situation. When I took office in January of 2016, the city had faced financial difficulties that ranged from $500,000 in stabilization to now $8 million in surplus. We could not fund our school department. We were struggling to reduce classroom sizes. We have since reduced classroom sizes, avoided pink slips to our teachers, as well as gave $1.4 million more to the school department than they previously had gotten. We have increased our police and fire departments when in previous years, prior to my administration, those fire departments and police departments were being threatened with layoffs. We have fixed our city streets. We have this innovative program that many other communities, New Bedford, Providence, have experienced, which is called Streetscapes, improving our business districts and our different neighborhoods throughout the city. So we are on the move. We are prepared to move the city into the future, and I hope that you'll consider voting for me, Jasiel Correia II, to continue to be the mayor of Fall River.
Thank you, Mr. Correia. Your time is up. Ms. Pereira, your 1-minute opening statement.
Thank you very much for having us here today, and thank you to the audience at home who is listening to our final debate for the November 7th final election in the city of Fall River. My views are a bit different than the current mayor's views. I have been on the council for 16 years, been involved in the community for 40 years. I just don't see that the city is moving in the direction that I would like to see it moving into. I find that this administration has lacked transparency and has said many half-truths. When I look at problems with a King Philip Mill that's not going to be developed yet, when I look at a bike path that has an easement for a road, when I look at a water sale to my friends in Rhode Island, those are things that bother me because the council has not been involved in it. We are a community. We all need to work together, and I feel that that's lacking.
All right, Ms. Pereira.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Ted and I have a lot of policy questions for both of you, from city finances to crime to trash collection. But let's get this out of the way first. The number one thing people brought up when we discussed this upcoming debate was questions about an FBI investigation. Mr. Correia, the Fall River Herald News reported you admitted the FBI is looking into a tech company you started. For the record, have you or anyone you are aware of been questioned by investigators yet?
No, I haven't been questioned. I've heard a lot of rumors. I've heard a lot of different distractions to really the progress that we've achieved as mayor over the last 2 years. But to my knowledge, and clearly nothing has happened, nothing has transpired at Government Center.
How were you made aware of the investigation then?
Well, see, so that's the confusion. I didn't admit, I admitted that I've heard rumors, and there's a ton of people, my opponent including, many others, that have probably been affected in some way by my administration, either positive or negative, had been chatting about this. But, to my knowledge, I don't know and can't confirm of anything that's happening.
So to be clear, you are unaware now, is what you're saying, of a federal investigation?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Pereira, I'm sure you're happy that we asked your opponent about this, but some of the reason that this is top of mind is because you made it an issue during the campaign. If Mr. Correia is cleared of any wrongdoing, will you publicly apologize?
Absolutely. If he's cleared of any wrongdoing, I would publicly apologize. But the fact of the matter remains that at the Fall River Office of Economic Development annual meeting is where it surfaced that the FBI had in fact contacted individuals, the vice president of that organization, for information. I have also had communication with the FBI. The mayor would like you to think that it's I who began this investigation, or Mr. Ken Fiola from the Florida Office of Economic Development, or the president of the council, Mr. Kadim. That is false. The mayor has investors in his snow owl when he professed to be this great entrepreneur 2 years ago. And those investors haven't received their money back. They must have been the ones to go forward. But you can't do that. You know, I worked at the district attorney's office. The FBI does not spend resources on
The FBI will
grand jury.
often ask a lot of questions for cases that
Correct.
do not go anywhere.
They ask questions, but when it gets to the point that there's a grand jury set up as well, and we
Are
have
you aware of a grand jury, or are you just saying that?
No, I'm aware of a grand jury.
Have you gone before the grand jury?
I have not, but I have seen summonses from individuals who have gone
All right,
to the
Mr.
grand
Correia,
jury.
obviously this doesn't sound good to people. What is your message to the voters who are concerned about all of this?
The message is nothing has happened. Nobody can confirm any of this. I'm a couple days before an election. We have a positive record. We have a good record as an administration that's delivered more services to our taxpayers, has cut fees, has been able to produce things that people have not been able to do in the city of Fall River. The city has been plagued by bad financial practices, plagued by not being able to fund its schools and its police and fire forces, and now we're doing all that. We went from $500,000 to an $8 million surplus. These are all the things that we've accomplished in the last 2 years. I haven't seen or heard of anything that has actually
What about
eroded
the Fall
that.
River Economic Development meeting that your opponent just brought up?
Let's talk about this. So my opponent claims that she's spoken to the FBI. We don't know if she called, they called her. And the other source that she mentioned is the organization that I defunded. So it's the organization
So
that
sour
I defunded.
grapes.
Absolutely sour grapes. The organization that I defunded, and the person running against me, and the nephew or cousin of one of my investors who ran against me in the primary. These are the people, these are the accusers. I haven't heard anybody come forward that has been a legitimate source that hasn't had an axe to grind with me.
We want to move on to policy questions, Ms. Pereira, but I'll give you 30 seconds if you want to have the final say on this.
If the mayor doesn't feel that there is an investigation, why did he hire lawyers and made a statement that his lawyers have contacted and the FBI won't speak to them?
That's
Why
not
do you
true.
hire lawyers? And of course, the FBI is not going to speak to you. They're not going to speak to you when they have information and go to a grand jury. You're going to be the last one to know. They'll come and tell you when they've dotted their I's and crossed their T's, and it will happen. You can't start a business borrowing money from people and spending that money on other things except that business.
Let's
So-
move on to our policy questions as promised. Ted?
Ms. Pereira, I'll stick with you to start off this round. As you read through the city audit, it seems that one of the biggest, perhaps the biggest financial challenge facing Fall River is the city's unfunded promises to retirees for pension and health care benefits. More than $900 million are the estimates right now from the actuaries. The latest information from the state shows the city needs to increase its contribution to the pension fund by 6.5% a year every year from now until 2034. That's an increase of about $2 million or more every year. Is it time to go to the city's retirees and say, look, we have to reduce your benefits to cut the burden of that on taxpayers?
You can't cut the benefits to a retiree. The city needs to be able to put the money in. One of the budgets that was before us, they had put in X amount of dollars into PERAC, and I knew it wasn't
Which
enough.
is the pension board. Yeah.
Right, the Public Employees Retirement Commission. They hadn't put in enough. I knew it. And I questioned that, and they said, oh no, we were told by PERAC that this was enough. Sure enough, months later they came back wanting a transfer of funds because we needed to do that. And the OPEC we needed to do as well, which is another part of making sure that benefits are provided. And I know that the council president has addressed that with the mayor about a year ago. The mayor is now looking at, yes, we're going to take some money, maybe some from this $8 million, and start funding that. We need to fund that. You know, the debt service on the pension needs to be secured.
If elected mayor, you have to come up with that roughly $2 million
Absolutely.
a year. Will you cut spending or raise taxes?
Well, you might do a little bit of both. You might do a little bit of both. But the pension has to be supported. The money has to be put there.
Mr.
I
Correia,
think- Sorry.
That's
No, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Correia, just the same question to you. You're looking, as I said, at roughly $2 million every year in increased pension costs. Will you ask retirees to take lower pension benefits to reduce the burden?
No, we're not going to do that. That's not the first resort by any means. We have a plan in place. I have been in office for 2 years, so these problems, these pension issues, I have inherited. And all the communities around us are inheriting these issues that politicians from the past never dealt with, never took a hard vote or line on pension obligations. We are now doing that. So we created a surplus. We had to do that. The only way to create a trust fund, which is what we're doing, we're creating a trust fund so that, God forbid, if we can't afford those benefits, we can pull from that trust fund. That's what we're doing. But in order to get to the trust fund, we needed to create a surplus. When I took office, the city had $500,000 left in free cash, and we owed snowplow companies $1 million. So we were almost underwater. We've went from $500,000 to $8 million in 22 months. That's what we've done. And we also eliminated a fee, the trash fee, by privatizing trash collection in the city of Fall River. So now what we can do is take some of that surplus money, not the whole surplus, but some of the surplus, and put it in a trust fund for unfunded pension liabilities.
Is it fair, though, to ask current taxpayers who were not the ones who received the services from these retirees to pony up that much money every year in their taxes?
No, it's not fair, and that's why we're taking it from the surplus. It's not coming from taxes. Taxes are going to continue to provide city services like trash collection, police, fire, and education. The surpluses that we've created have been because of good management, fiscal management, zero-based budgeting, taking a hard look at budgets and cutting fat from budgets, and being able to collect our back taxes.
Ms. Pereira, the mayor suggests that elected officials who've been in office a long time are part of the problem. Your response?
I have been battling with Pereira and vocal on the council regarding that. But when the mayor talks about surplus money, there is no surplus money. All of that money is taxpayer money. So when you say, is it fair to take from the taxpayer to pay bills of the past, sometimes you have to do that. For example, I don't have any children in the public school system. Should I, as a taxpayer, say, I don't want to put money towards education? No. We're a community, and when there's a problem, we all need to come together to address that issue.
Mr. Correia, 30 seconds, finish that up.
Here we have a notification from the Department of Revenue that certifies our free cash. Free cash is a surplus that this administration has been able to create, and due to that surplus, we have put the city on a better track. When I took office, we had a negative bond outlook by Moody's, the credit rating agency, and today we have a positive outlook by that same agency. So we have moved the city in the positive direction.
Ms. Pereira, you have said that the crime rate in Fall River is, quote, off the charts. The latest FBI statistics show violent crime is down, aggravated assaults down, property crime down, larcenies down. What chart are you using?
I'm using the opioid epidemic, I think it is.
So you're putting opioid under the crime umbrella and not the public health umbrella?
No, and the crime that we've had, and you can say that the stats are down, the crime we've had, a horrendous crime. The shootings in Fall River are off the charts. To have gun casings and shells in streets in Fall River, we really need to look at that. And one of the things that's concerning to me is that we had a position of someone with ATF, with alcohol, tobacco, and firearm. That position is paid by the city of Fall River. Any overtime is paid by ATF. Why would we get rid of that position when part of the problem was with all the shootings? We had Shot Spotter. The mayor did put that back. We'll claim he got that for free because it was a $90,000 investment. But that is a useful tool. It is not going to be the one piece of paper or the one document that's going to convict anybody. But having worked at the district attorney's office, I know that Shot Spotter information has been used as a part of evidence in many trials. And one of the things it does, it gets the police to that scene sooner. And when they arrive, the evidence collection is better, and the availability to get eyewitnesses is enhanced. And those are the tools.
Mr. Correia, while the data the city gives to the FBI shows the crime is down, Fall River doesn't do so hot when compared to like-sized city. Violent crime is higher in Fall River than neighboring New Bedford, for example, which has more people. Do you understand why people who live in Fall River might not care about crime stats when they don't feel so safe at home?
So it's a very important issue. It's a top issue. And we take it very seriously. But to address your question about New Bedford does not report the data in order to receive the Shannon grant, which is a gang violence grant. Because they don't report that data, our crime statistics are reported and are worse because they report no data. So that's the reason. So you may want to follow up on that, but it's not that ours are worse.
Follow up on her question. She's saying shell casings are everywhere, shootings are up.
Secondly, Councilor Pereira constantly says that shootings are off the charts, but provides no charts. Every debate we've had, and we've had several, she's never provided a chart that shows that evidence. My charts and data come from our police department, the men and women on the streets protecting our city every day. When she talks about ShotSpotter, our police department told me that it only worked 23% of the time. And ShotSpotter is a device that sends a radio frequency and is supposed to detect the location of where a shot is fired. It was working 23% of the time. So when she says that they arrive on scene sooner, they're arriving at the wrong scene. They were arriving on streets 2 streets over. It was a waste of resources and a waste of $90,000 a year that could have been used for camera systems that deter criminals, catch criminals, and are used in court for convictions. That was the initiative that I started. But because we started that initiative, because we initiated that conversation, and I didn't just sit back and say, oh, I want to be a fancy mayor, I have this ShotSpotter system that isn't really working, but we're not going to be public about that, we're not going to be transparent about that. We took initiative and we went to ShotSpotter and we said, hey, it only works 23% of the time. They decided to provide the service for free and tune the service to our specifications. That's good government. That's what we did with ShotSpotter. But we have invested in a mobile command unit and placed that mobile command unit in hotspots throughout the community. My opponent wants to paint this negative picture of the city of Fall River. That's not a positive image. We have to be honest with the stats, but be honest with the stats, bring forward the stats, and come up with solutions. In the first debate that we did on camera on a news program like this, she came up with a 555 plan and then abandoned that plan. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 debates since then. She's never once mentioned 555 ever again. She has no plan. She has no plan for public safety. We do, and we have. We've added more police. We've added cameras. We've added a mobile command unit.
And we should say 555 plan is 5 officers every year for 3 years, correct?
5 officers for 5 years for 5% of the budget.
Okay.
And I haven't abandoned the plan, number one. But, you know, to say that 23% of the time it doesn't work, well then over 75% of the time ShotSpotter does work.
No, it only works 23% of the time.
It's the other way around.
No, it does
That
not.
is a stat from the police department.
No, I would argue with that statistic because other community statistics are different on how effective it is. And it's tuning in more and more to if it's a backfire of an automobile. And you know what? It is a tool. It is a tool in the toolbox for our police officers. And when you say that, you know, it's a negative picture of Fall River with crime, let's look at page 3 of the Herald News. Every day, the crime that's happening. When I did the press conference on public safety, I didn't go to this individual's home. The reporter did. And the woman said she's so scared she's sleeping on a mattress on the floor with her child because she was frightened so much of the gun. I didn't talk to that woman. That's what people are legitimately feeling.
All right, we have to move on, but I'll give you just 15 seconds to say one more point.
Okay, so the 555 makes no sense. The last part is 5% of the budget. That equates to almost $13 million. Where is she going to cut $13 million from the budget and fund pension obligation and fund schools? There is no plan. 555 is Domino's advertisement.
All right, we've got to move on this one.
Sense.
It sounds like we can do the whole debate on it. Mr. Correia, you know, elections are a chance for elected leaders to reflect, to share what they've learned with voters. You've been mayor for nearly 2 years now. What is the biggest mistake you've made as mayor, and what did you learn from it?
So the biggest mistake was one of the warrants that I did not physically sign. We have an official stamp that sometimes signs warrants, and that particular warrant allowed a transaction to take place through a grant that came back as one that was used to go to a conference that was too expensive. And it wasn't a conference that I attended, it was an employee of the city. That warrant made sure that I looked at every single, and made sure the full chain of command looked at every single expense, and that hasn't happened again, it won't happen again. Fortunately, it was a $2,300 expense, not like the hundreds of thousands of dollars Councilor Pereira has cost the city over her years of service to the city of Fall River and previous administrations of $800,000 losses of lawsuits and things of this nature. But that gave me a hard look and said, you know what, no, sometimes you got to make sure that Every single person in the chain of command knows exactly what they're doing. And this was very early on in the administration. This was within the first 3 months of the administration.
All right, Ms. Pereira, same question. You've been on the council 16 years. In fact, I read on your website you said, I've learned much from my successes, but even more from my failures. What do you consider the biggest of those failures, and what did you learn from it?
One of the biggest failures that I think on the council was not speaking with every single one of my colleagues when I brought the Casella contract to the table for discussion and didn't get a second on it. Because Casella would have taken all of our recyclables for 20 years for free. And today, when we look at recyclables, that's huge. Recyclables are going to cost all communities much more money. Less is taking for recyclables. If recyclables aren't clean, the cost is greater. And I wish that I would have communicated more and given explanations to all of my colleagues to make sure that we got that passed.
And I'll let you briefly respond because the mayor took a shot at you in his own mistake answer about he said you've cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to the city.
I love when he says that. See, I'm one of 9. I can vote one way, but if the majority of the council do not vote that way, nothing passes. But he likes to blame me for everything, and that's okay. Let him blame me as much as he wants. He talks about lawsuits. We're going to have a lawsuit on the bike trail. We could have a potential lawsuit with the water. We could have another potential lawsuit with the King Philip Mill. You want to talk about lawsuit? We got a lawsuit with sexual harassment. I mean, there's lawsuits all the time that happen.
Mr. Correia, 30 seconds.
So this is her voting record. So when I blame her, I don't say, it's Linda Pereira's fault without the documentation. You have to take responsibility for your votes. I was a city councilor. I took responsibility for my votes. It is a fact that I did not vote for the pay-as-you-throw program to become a law. It is a fact that I did not vote for the trash fee. It is a fact that I didn't vote for the sanitation enterprise account nor the stormwater fee. She, my councilor, Councilor Pereira, has voted for all of those things. So she has cost the taxpayers money. I have eliminated the $120 trash fee. When I sent that down to the council as a recommendation to eliminate the trash fee, she voted to keep the trash fee. When we had a sustainable plan, and now we're a fiscal year ahead, one full fiscal year, and we see that we had a surplus even in that year, when councilors like Councilor Pereira said we would be in a deficit, that we weren't going to be able to fund our budget. So if you take a report card of what we've done over the last 2 years and check off fiscal health, it's an A+.
All right, Mr. Correia, we have, believe it or not, 5 minutes left in this debate. So I'm going to cover a lot of, I'm going to cover a lot of ground here in a section we call rapid fire. I am looking for a one-word answer from each of you on this. Mr. Correia, we'll start with you. Do you support or oppose the new city charter, which would make changes to how government in the city works?
No.
You oppose?
I oppose the city charter.
Ms. Pereira?
Yes.
You support. Yes or no, Ms. Pereira, yes or no, do you support the Massachusetts fair share ballot question that would subject those who make $1 million or more to a 4% surtax?
Yes.
You support.
Yes.
Support. Mr. Correia, should there be, yes or no, should there be term limits for Mayor of Fall River?
No.
No.
We found common ground there. Letter grade, Ms. Pereira, for Governor Charlie Baker, A through F.
B.
Okay. And Mr. Correia?
A.
Letter grade, Mr. Correia, for President Donald Trump.
Oh, man. C.
Game is C.
D.
And yes or no, final question, Ms. Pereira. Yes or no, should Fall River police officers be required to wear body cameras?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Ted?
I want to ask about taxes, always a big issue in the city. Ms. Pereira, reading your campaign website, you said, quote, small business is the glue that keeps the economy of communities like Fall River together. Last fall on the council, you did back a proposal to change how tax rates work. It's a little complicated, but in effect, businesses are paying a larger share of taxes, residents paying a lower share under that. How do you square your rhetoric about promoting economic development with your support for that tax change that made businesses pay a bit more?
Well, I'm going to tell you, homeowners and taxpayers of Fall River received a higher tax bill, the 2.5%, a water increase and a sewer increase. For years, we have shifted it to assist business. And I thought this year, we've got to shift it and help the average homeowner, because the average homeowners are struggling too. So there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a give and take. And for years, we did give to business. And this year, I felt the taxpayer deserved a bit of a break.
Mr. Correia, the Herald News reported that your administration backed an alternative plan. Would have been lower taxes on businesses, a bit higher taxes on residents. Ms. Pereira says households needed the break. Why did you disagree?
When I submitted the tax shift, it was actually the same as previous years. So there was going to be no change. It was the exact shift that was equal to previous years. The council did shift it with a majority to burden the business community as opposed to the homeowners. But I think there might be some goodwill from the council who has voted for 16 years of tax increases and water rate increases. There is not a tax or fee that Linda Pereira has not supported. So, to say that you shifted it in this one time after 16 years of voting for tax increases and fees is not good enough for the homeowners. My proposal was to keep it the same shift that it's been for the last several years, because the Chamber of Commerce came forward, the Industrial Park Board came forward and said, hey, let's keep it the same. Let's not give it more to the business. Let's not give it more to the homeowner. Let's keep it the same. And that was the proposal.
Ms. Pereira, your response.
We've given to the business community. We've given by doing some additional work up in the industrial park area. And I get along very well with the business community. I get along very well with the Chamber of Commerce. And I explained to them, I just felt that the residents needed a bit of a break. And I'll stand by that. And when you talk about voting for increases, let's talk about some of the increases that we have voted on. To reline water pipes, to put in new water mains. Do we want Fall River to be a Flint, Michigan? No. At times we increase because there are certain things to do. The mayor has sent down many increases this past year, and we've supported some of those increases on building department regulations, et cetera, because it did make sense. If you're going to go in and inspect a small building or a large building, it shouldn't be the same price.
We are just about out of time in this debate, and I want to end on a positive note. Debates can showcase bad things about a city, so let's talk about a good thing. Mr. Correia, 30 seconds. If someone asked you where to go on a first date in Fall River, where would it be?
Well, it could be a couple places, but it could be the new movie theater. You want to do a dinner and a date. We haven't had a movie theater in Fall River since I was a very young kid. And now we have a movie theater again at South Coast Marketplace, but also the waterfront. If you're going out during the day, go down to our brand new $3 million state-funded boardwalk. How many cities, municipal cities of 90,000 people, have a boardwalk and a waterfront like Fall River, with Battleship Cove, great restaurants on Columbia Street, Portuguese food that you can't get anywhere else except maybe in Portugal. What a great place to come and visit. And that is the message that we have to keep promoting about Fall River.
Ms. Pereira, 30 seconds.
On a first date?
Yeah.
That's like 43 years ago. But thank you for asking. Our first date was like for pizza somewhere. So today, no, there are many beautiful things in Fall River. I would like to take a walk on the bike path. I truly enjoy that area and the nature that's there. And certainly we have a lot of great restaurants.
All right, Ms. Pereira, Mr. Correia, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you. We'll see you next week on Newsmakers.